Here we go. Day 4 of the 5-day non-monogamy challenge. Whoo! This week has been like a roller coaster. It is crazy. Going live twice a day, getting everything ready for this weekend event, dealing with like other appointments and issues and so on and so forth. It's insane. People have been asking me how I'm doing, and I'm like, well, I'll get to rest after my surgery next week. So that said, I am thrilled to have you all here, and super excited to be talking about compersion today. Now, some of you have probably heard me talk about compersion before, or you've seen some of my writings on compersion. Hello, Sabyasachi, lovely to see you. And I've been digging around with the idea in my head that once I get through this next couple of surgeries and I recover and so on and so forth, I've been like playing with the idea of actually creating a compersion, like a mini compersion workshop of, how to uncover and find compersion in our lives and how to build our compersion muscles. Hello, Barbs. Good to see you. And so that's something that I think I'm definitely putting it on my agenda. And it's something I think I'll do probably later this spring. Because I really, really feel that anybody, not just, people in monogamy, can benefit from compersion and what it can bring to your life and your relationships. And again, not just your non-monogamous relationships, but your friendships and your family and so on and so forth. So, yeah. So let's talk about compersion, right? So I am doing these challenge days as a lead up to this event right here, cheating.com. It's not cheating, which actually starts tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll kick off an entire weekend of learning about, talking about, engaging with non-monogamy. It's not cheating. This is actually our second weekend on the topic. Our first one was in 2020. And so I'm super excited to be bringing in new presenters and new viewpoints and new ways of looking at non-monogamy and learning about non-monogamy. And of course, I'll be teaching also about non-monogamy. And I will touch a bit on compersion, specifically in my workshop on Saturday. We'll be talking about non-monogamy. I do what I want, and you can too. And then on Sunday, when I talk about asymmetrical or unequal non-monogamy. So yeah, lots of compersion. What's compersion? Like, people talk about it a lot. They talk about it like it's some sort of like cure-all or magic pill for non-monogamous relationships. Some call it anti-jealousy. Not me. Nope, I don't. Compersion is the feeling of joy experiencing or witnessing another's pleasure, right? Compersion is the best known word for this in English, but there are other words like mudita from Buddhism, which is a sympathetic, vicarious joy, happiness rather than resentment at someone else's well-being or good fortune, right? And then there's frubly, which is the adjective form of trouble, a feeling of happiness at others' good fortune. And there's a newly coined word, tertaliation, which is the arousal derived from your intimate partner being desired by another. A little offshoot, but still within that same family. And that last one, ooh, yeah, that is one of the reasons that I identify so strongly as a pimptress, because I love the fact that my partner is desired by others. So one of the challenges that I've seen around the idea of compersion is that if you go into like a poly discussion group or whatever, and you say, hey, you know, I'm having these kind of feels, and maybe there's some jealousy involved, and I'm wondering what to do, people will be like, compersion, you need compersion. You know, without it, you can't do all of this. And, you know, that's a bunch of bullshit. Non-monogamy does not require compersion. I mean, it's good to have it. Like, it's good to have compersion when it comes to life. Did y'all see that amazing picture of Jamie Lee Curtis, like, yeah, when Michelle Yeoh won for Best Actress? Did y'all see that? It's an amazing picture. And if you haven't seen it, let me see if I can find it. Jamie Lee Curtis, Michelle Yeoh, because it just came to my mind, and like it's almost like a perfect visual representation. Yep, here it is. I got this. I got y'all. Yeah. Let's see. Here we go. Yep. This is like the perfect visual. I'm popping that into the chat right now. And actually, you know what? I'm going to save this. JLC, and I'm going to pull it up. Just so you can see it, because to me, this is the like epitome of compersion. Now, where did I just put that? Where did I just put that? That's a good question. Okay, let's try this again. Save image as JLC. I put it into downloads. Okay. Yay, technology, right? Just bear with me here for a minute. Because I really, oh, there it is. Okay. You see that? That right there. That is compersion. Look at her. She is like, oh, yes, I am so happy for my friend's good fortune. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, poster child of like cheerleading and compersion. Right freaking there. Okay. So now Roger says you may need it or want it, but it's not something you can just manufacture. It is not something you can just manufacture. However, it is something you can practice and become better at. They say that compersion is the anti-jealousy as well. Like they say that if you feel compersion, you will not feel jealousy. And I'm going to tell you, that's not true. Compersion is not necessarily a system override for other feelings. Compersion is not an antidote to jealousy. Most humans I know are perfectly capable of feeling joy in another person's happiness and also feeling jealousy or fear or a sick dread or anger or upset or depression or on and on and on. Humans are complex creatures. We are not one thing or another. We are not 100% good at any given time, and we are not 100% bad at any given time. We can have uncharitable thoughts and feelings even when we are ecstatic for each other. So, like, we can both think, good for him. He's put in a lot of work and looks great. And why is it so easy for him to lose weight? It's so difficult for me, no matter how hard I try. Right? Or I am thrilled that she got that raise. She really deserves it. And but I feel like I'm never given as much positive feedback as she is, and I work just as hard. Or those two are really in love and happy with each other, and I'm so glad they're getting to experience this wonderful thing. And I'm seeing them less and less, and it hurts me. Right? Humans are complex. People talk about compersion like it's the be all end all of emotions. Like once you push it, it restarts your emotional hard drive with only positive things like chirping songbirds with ribbons, unicorns farting glitter, and chipmunks dancing with hearts, or whatever your personal vision of all positive happiness is. I'll tell you something. I've never experienced it that way. So if you don't, know you're not alone, no matter how anyone makes it seem on the internet, right? Here's the thing though. Compersion is not only an amazing concept, there are a lot of ways to feel it. So there is emotional compersion. Pardon me for just 1 minute as Birdie, hi, gets comfortable on my lap, which she seems to be taking a while here. So there is emotional compersion, sexual compersion, and intellectual compersion. And each one of those has a different flavor or a different feel to it. So emotional compersion is the one that people most often talk about when it comes to, compersion is the antidote to jealousy. Emotional compersion is when you see a baby smile and you can't help but smile in response, right? Or you see a puppy being joyful and you like laugh and giggle without even thinking about it. Or, your partner walks in the door with a big grin and is like, ah, and you're like, yes, my day has just gotten better. This is emotional compersion. It is feeling joy. It is feeling happiness when another feels positive feelings, right? So that one and this next one, sexual compersion, those are the two that are most common in non-monogamy. As far as if you only felt compersion, you'd be great at this. But here's the thing. A lot of people know how to feel those in situations where they are not already afraid, right? They are not already hurting or jealous or whatever. So Roger says, I was never a jealous person. However, I had one instance where my wife was dancing with someone else He had his hand on her ass and was throwing it in my face. I was pissed. Jealousy can happen. Absolutely. Of course it can. Of course it can. I would never, ever tell people that, you absolutely must get rid of jealousy in order for things to work. It's like, that's, I can't say that. It's like saying you could never be angry. Like, that's a bunch of bullshit. No, I'm not going to try to tell you that. I'm not going to pretend that that's the case. Jealousy can happen, and compersion can happen at the same time. So, sexual compersion. Sexual compersion is when you get off, or you get off harder, or you get more pleasure from an experience when your partner is also experiencing pleasure. So for those people who say, my greatest pleasure is getting my partner off, that is generally a sort of sexual compersion. Now, I've actually read online, there was an article. This was a couple years ago. There was an article online that specifically said that when men focus on a woman's orgasm during sex, it's because they are like trying to control her body. And that's a bad thing. Like, men who want to give you orgasms are just, being the patriarchic jerks that they are, and, trying to take credit for your pleasure. Okay, so let me just pause for a second and go on a little rant. First of all, if there is not a human who wants me to experience as much pleasure as possible when I am in bed with them, and they don't put in that kind of effort, and they don't want to see it, then I don't want to be in bed with them. As far as taking credit for my pleasure, having a good partner is a wonderful thing when it comes to pleasure. Like, I'm not going to, yeah, sure, they're not the only reason I can orgasm. Of course not. But I'm not going to beat them down for wanting to give me pleasure. Anyway, a lot of the people, though, that are like that, they get pleasure from giving it, right? So when somebody else gets off, they get fulfilled even more or better than sometimes even their own getting off. So that is a sexual compersion. So again, emotional compersion and sexual compersion are the two types of compersion that are most often talked about when it comes to non-monogamy. But there is a third type of compersion. And this is the type of compersion that a lot of people can access more easily than the emotional or sexual. And that is intellectual compersion. Sort of like, it's like a vibing, right? I love the way, that people light up when they're talking about like their passion. Like, tell me about your stamp collecting, or your mead making, or about your travels to, the Middle East, or whatever it is. I love that when people geek out about, whatever fill in the blank hobby or interest it is. And I especially get compersive when, like, for example, my partner geeks out with somebody who has the same passion, right? Like, there are lots of things my partner really enjoys that I could care less about, except that my partner enjoys them. So when he gets to talk about that, with somebody else who really grokks it, I can be intellectually compersive, right? And that level of compersion is something that many people who can't yet or have not yet accessed emotional or sexual compersion can really like get into and sort of make their own. Like, I don't really want to hear about their feelings and I don't want to hear about them having sex, but I can appreciate that this person and that person vibe, right? Like that they share this interest in Magic the Gathering or in, I don't know, competitive pizza making, right? Like I can start being happy for my partner on little things that's connecting them to other humans. And if you think about it, these are also the things that we want to be compersive with for our friends and for our families, right? For the other people in our lives. Sabyasachi says, I'm intrigued. How do you not have basic human feeling emotions, including anger or jealousy? You don't not have it, right? Like, if you can find a way to not have it, usually when people say, oh, I don't have that, what they're actually saying is, I don't allow myself to experience it. And I don't think that that's healthy. Now, I'm not saying that some people don't get better and better at not experiencing these things. Like, I very rarely experience jealousy. But like I was talking about yesterday, I do experience envy, right? And I do experience possessiveness. And like I was talking about on Tuesday, I do experience a difficulty sometimes adapting to change, right? But here's the thing, like, compersion is just such this big concept, and we've put so much weight on the shoulders of compersion. I find breaking it up into emotional compersion and sexual compersion and intellectual compersion gives us more options. Like, intellectual compersion is the easiest. Emotional compersion is usually the next. And then sexual compersion is the most difficult for most people. But again, one of the things that I think is most commonly misunderstood is that compersion is not the antidote for jealousy. They can live side by side. People will tell you that you need more compersion to feel less jealousy. And I don't feel like that's a complete answer, because jealousy can get in the way of compersion, right? Lack of empathy can get in the way of compersion. Insecurity can get in the way of compersion. A lack of understanding about what compersion is can get in the way of compersion. Compersion doesn't outweigh jealousy. They are concurrent feelings, right? Because jealousy is really just a sign from your body and your mind that something is not going right. And it's a signal to pause, hit pause, and figure out what's not going right. Right? Like, what is it? So here's the thing. And today's a very simple and to the point discussion. If you are new to polyamory, to non-monogamy, whatever, then you probably want to practice your compersion. Look for it in your interactions. When somebody tells you something that they are happy about, practice finding that feeling of happiness within yourself, because being more compersive may make life more fun for you. It may help you find more joy for yourself in your partner's and your friends' experiences. And if you're totally monogamous, you may also want to practice compersion because it may make life more fun for you, and it may help you find more joy for yourself in your partners and your friends. So if you have questions about compersion, please post in the chat and let's talk about this. Carl says, I'd love to be a cuckold, but the wife said, no, help me. No, Carl, I will not. Cuckolding is about what your wife wants. You don't get to turn her into your personal fetish dispenser. Sorry, that's not how things work. Not at all. Don't ever ask me something like that again. Okay, compersion, which, I mean, a question like that, how do I get my partner to XYZ? They already said no. That is the opposite of compersion. That is, I want to put what I want onto my partner, not I want to feel more joy from what my partner experiences as pleasure. Right? Turning this around. Earlier, I was actually talking with a group about that, about, you know, the gaze in cuckolding that tries to force people into fitting a particular paradigm, and it just doesn't work. Matt says, are there tools for building compersion that we can gently hand our partners? Not yet. I was actually just saying at the beginning of this that one of the things I think I'm going to do once I get past this next set of surgeries that I'm going through, is I think I'm going to build a little mini workshop specifically about compersion, because I think that it is a skill that a lot of people could stand to learn. But that said, so I talked about emotional compersion, I talked about sexual compersion, I talked about intellectual compersion. It can be helpful to start modeling and engaging in compersion within your relationship outside of really fraught emotional topics, right? So, like, if you have good friends that are in love, right? Talk about that with your partner. Talk about how amazing it is for your friends to have this love for each other, and, you know, how it's just so beautiful and wonderful to see them together, right? And gauge whether or not your partner is warming up to the idea of feeling that in a situation that is not whatever your non-monogamy might be bringing to the table. And I will tell you, I mean, there are some people who just, they're not compersive. They're fine with non-monogamy. They're just not compersive. They don't want to know. They don't really care. You know, their life is their life, and that's what matters to them. And that's okay too. But again, compersion is a skill that you can learn and you can practice and you can grow. And the happier you feel for people in your life who are doing happy intellectual things or happy emotional things, the easier it is to access that happy when people are doing things that maybe aren't as fabulous for you, but yet you're still happy for them, right? Does that make sense? What other questions do we have on compersion, if any? Carl, it's okay. I get so frustrated when, people come to me and they say, actually, you know what? It's not okay. I accept your apology, and possibly think about what you can be doing to make your partner happy and joyous within the relationship that you have, and what you can do to collaborate with your partner within the foundation that the two of you have built, that the two of you agree upon. Because trying to talk somebody into something in a relationship, it's no bueno, right? And for anybody else out there who might be thinking, ooh, I'd like to, ask my partner to do XYZ relationship thing with me, or XYZ kinky thing with me, or fetishy thing with me, or whatever. What I would suggest is make sure your relationship is already like in a position where you can talk about these things and communicate well. And then you can start to collaborate on things from a perspective of, what if we decided to fantasize about this? What if we decided to just, explore similar concepts together and play with them? Sabyasachi, can you give some examples of emotional compersion? Sure, absolutely. So, you ever be watching TV and something like happy happens like on TV, and you smile real big and you don't even realize you're smiling, but because the people on television are like being joyous and excited, you're joyous and excited for them. It's a type of empathy, really. It's feeling your own joy as a result of somebody else's. Yeah. KS, I have a phrase. I love chocolate milkshakes. Make me drink a chocolate milkshake and I would spit it out. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, there are lots of things I could learn to love, but if you try to force me to love them, that's not going to happen. Other emotional compersion, like, when you're at a wedding, or, and it's just so joyous, and you see people crying in the stands because they're just so overwhelmed with the joy and love that the new couple is experiencing. That is an emotional compersion, right? Roger says, asking is okay, just listen to the answer. It might be no. I said no, then my wife cheated. Sometimes the answer is no. Absolutely. If you're going to ask a question, be ready to get whatever answer. And the other thing is, and this is key, sometimes the answer might be maybe. But if you treat that maybe as a keep pushing and try to force me to say yes, it's absolutely going to be no. Because that isn't how people want to live their sexual or their romantic lives, right? They don't want to be forced into things unless you've negotiated that, and that's a whole nother dynamic. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any more questions on compersion, so maybe today will be a short episode. Now, tomorrow we are coming back and we are talking about the best rules for non-monogamy. So same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to be talking about the best rules for non-monogamy. and we'll be finishing up right around 3 p.m. And then at 5 p.m., we'll be opening up the social rooms to kick off the It's Not Cheating weekend event. So don't forget to get registered if you have not yet for It's Not Cheating. Let me pop this in here. Right there, notcheating.com. Get into the community, get ready, because it is going to be an amazing weekend. Amazing. So thank you. Thank you all very, very much for joining me this afternoon. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow and hopefully over the weekend. Bye, y'all.